Sup? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me I have some more RPG horror stories. I know I talk a lot about, I want to stream someday. I need to be, I achieve my eventual debut as a D&D VTuber. I think that's what I call myself. I don't remember anymore. It was something corny like that. Anyway, keep saying, I want to do it. You know what? It's time to stop saying I want to do it and start doing it. Next week, I'm gonna start streaming again and actually do like consistent streams, like maybe twice a week, 3 times a week. I'll figure something out, at least once a week. I'll try to do something for there. Anyway, stay tuned for that. I'll post over on a channel about me page or whatever. I'll make an announcement once I figure things out. In the meantime, we're gonna get some RPG horror stories for today. Hired a paid DM. DM had someone else run the game. Not the worst horror story, but my first bad story in 5 years of playing. I joined a pay-to-play game and started playing several months ago. The DM had a bunch of 5.0 reviews, so I gave it a go. Go through session 0, all sounds good. My first session comes up later that week, and the DM apologizes but couldn't run a game and was having another DM on the server run a one-shot adventure that had nothing to do with the campaign I was paying to play in. The DM that couldn't run that spent half the session talking about making cookies while we were trying to play. 1.5 hours of the 3-hour session we're talking about cookies. I'm frustrated, but the DM had a legitimate reason for not being able to run, so I let it go. I mean, unless the campaign is all about like a cookie campaign that's actually super fun, you get some sort of like a sweet reward, like a magic item, like a candy cane of +1 bludgeoning or something, or I don't know, a cookie of poisoning disease gives people diabetes. I don't know at this point. I have no idea. Some sort of a fun reward, but if you're spending more time talking about baking and cookies and stuff instead of actually playing the game, especially with a DM that's like a substitute DM, whoa, not a good first expression, honestly. But let's continue. Second session, the DM apologizes that they aren't running again because we never finished the one-shot. So the 2 DMs decide they were going to have us finish it before moving on. I'm more annoyed, but it makes sense from a story aspect. Fine. They can't run DM again, talks through half the game, and doesn't let us finish it. You know, if you're gonna be outsourcing your DMing ability, maybe find somebody that you can outsource to that you can trust. Not just some person that's gonna be talking about cookies and stuff. I get cookies are cool. Cookies are fantastic. You can get them chocolate chip, double chocolate chip, triple chocolate chip, macadamia, raisin cookies. Yes, I like raisin cookies. I'm a devil spawn. Of course I like raisin cookies. But at the end of the day, like, actually, was it oatmeal cookies or raisin cookies that people hate? I kind of don't mind any cookies at all, as long as they taste delicious. But either way, if you're outsourcing your DMing capabilities to another DM, at least make it a DM that's gonna be, good or decent or serviceable. A DM that just talks about nonsense topic on the side throughout the entire session, more session talking about the topic than actually playing the game, that is a problem. Also, how can you spend so much time talking about cookies? Cookies are delicious, they're great, they taste amazing, you can make them so much, and like you can have a bunch of different flavors, and that's about it. That's at least 20 minutes worth of conversation topic at most, if not 10 minutes. But an hour? But 1.5 hours out of a 3-hour session? How? I know, now it's on me. But I played the 3rd week, and after being assured that the actual DM would be running a game that week. So I'll play, and I'm unsurprised that once again the DM isn't running since we didn't finish a single session one-shot in 2 sessions. We get to a section of a dungeon that one of 4 players wants to scout out ahead. Fairly normal. But this player is literally scouting the entire dungeon while we are twiddling our thumbs. An hour into this scouting, and I move my token up a little because I wanted to actually play the game. DM hits the pause button on Foundry and moves me back. Tells me if you move your token again before we're ready, your character will be killed permanently. I leave the game in the Discord immediately and report it to Start Playing, who did refund all the money for the games. Insanity! Insanity. Not only do you outsource your DMing to a different DM, but as soon as you want to play, the player scouting is done. And you're like, okay, time to play. You step forward and can't play. If you do that again, we'll be banned permanently. Good thing you reported to Start Playing. That is some unacceptable behavior. Absolutely unacceptable behavior. That is horrible. I get outsourcing and stuff because like you can't handle it, but why do you continue the story? Just say, okay, the one shot, we're gonna put it on hold. Let's play the real game you paid for. You're paying for a service. I understand things can come up in ways and stuff, and maybe DM can make it and everything, but that's where you just delay. You delay and refund until you can eventually play, or you get somebody that is competent and is not gonna talk about cookies for half the game. Twice. I swear, I have no idea what's going on with this DM. I'm pretty sure that a lot of positive paid DM games out there and paid DM stories, but people are busy playing them instead of writing about them. Still though, out of all the paid game stories we've read so far, this one is absurd to the nth degree. And you know what, OP? I completely sympathize to you. I'm glad you got your money back, and hopefully you can find somebody you can actually play with. Maybe ask some friends around. I don't know. Either way, wish you good luck. Let's get to the next story for today. Try to DM a horror game, except I get meta horror instead. 2 years ago, I tried to DM a one-shot using obscure sci-fi system called Only War. The premise was that the players were staff of an old extraction rig in an ocean planet. They accidentally drill into the precursor alien facility. Horror stuff ensues, and the players' bosses decide to cut the losses and blow up the rig rather than evacuate the staff. Pretty standard survival horror stuff. I recently played a game that's about like survival horror and you're on an oil rig, except the bosses didn't want to blow up the oil rig. You actually, as a player yourself, like you blew up the oil rig because it was like cryptid aliens like invaded the oil rig and you want to stop them and set the whole thing on fire. It's kind of neat. It's kind of cool actually. I made an add-on looking for group board and got 8 responses. That was the high point of the game. What? Oh, that was the high point of the game to get 8 responses. Oh no. Oh, I just realized what I read. Oh, it's funny and sad at the same time. One of the responses doesn't understand the setting isn't D&D. He starts telling me about his Air Genasi character. I tell him using a different system. He changes his mind about being interested. I decide to invite the remaining people to a Discord server after talking for a bit. 7 possible players. We begin to discuss characters. One player wants to play a character from a related system. In Only War, all players are humans or cyborgs, and they get 1000 XP to spend at character creation. He wants to play a genetically engineered super soldier from a system called Death Watch, where starting characters are far stronger. So I say no. This special forces badass Adeptus Astartes is too strong. Maybe a more basic soldier class? The player doesn't like the idea. I point out to balance things I could have to give everyone else 9000 extra XP. He says can't just play with a power disparity. Doesn't make sense for my character to not be extremely deadly soldier. I say no again. He leaves the server and blocks me. Oh, look at that. A power gamer can't play the power gaming stuff where everybody else has a disparity. You'd be okay if like, hey, can we all just play Astartes and stuff or get like a lot of experience? That'd be fine. But this guy's like, no, I want to be the super special awesome badass here. And if everybody else can be that, then I quit. Okay, maybe I ran into an unreasonable person. On to the second player. Second player wants to play a member of an alien cult whose goal is to get as many women pregnant with his half-alien children as possible. He wants to be the fertility doctor on the base, and of course secretly sleeping with the female staff. The character backstory, which is about 5 pages, used the word breeding more times than I feel comfortable with. Also pheromones and fertile body, just for that extra ick factor. It was like something you'd find on DeviantArt at the end of the search results. Oh my god, we're 2 for 2 with an insanity. One guy wants to be a super special Astartes ever. Nobody else can be a super special Astartes ever. Second guy wants to just be a pervert and basically sleep with everybody. Oh, sorry, breed everybody. Gotta make sure I use the word correctly here. I mean, I'm trying to be the most authentic tiefling on the internet here. I never claimed that before, but you know, I'm claiming it now. I'm the most authentic Morrow that ever existed as a Morrow. Is that pretentious to me to say? Doesn't matter. Let's get to the rest of it. Let's see what the other players are like. I tell him in more words to cut the fetishy crap out. He doesn't like that and also leaves the server. Third player leaves without saying anything to me. This is about 3 days before the game starts. The fourth player, a woman, messages me. Apparently the breeding player was messaging her from several accounts after he left and was really keen to tell her about his character concept. She feels creeped out, so she's leaving the game. Oh my god. Oh no. I'm glad you told the guy no, because that's 100% certified bona fide creep. Ugh. The only woman in the server, and they just go after her with the fetishes breeding stuff. Listen, everybody has fantasies. We all have fantasies. Even I, Morrow, have my own succubi-related fantasies. You know what happens with the fantasies? They stay locked up in my head with all the beautiful succubi women stuck in my cranium without being let out, because that's what normal people do. They keep it on their pants, keep it on their heads. Oh, euphemism. And they don't let it out, euphemism again, into the game. Do not bring your fetishes or kinky stuff into the game unless specifically is a specific kinky game where this stuff is okay, which in this situation, it's not. On a day of the game, I had 2 theoretical players. Obviously not enough, but I can tone down the comments way down and still manage a tone of isolation and dread. There's still hope. Game starts. One player shows up. On time, even. With a correctly filled out sheet. I'm back to optimistic. We sit awkwardly in a voice chat in about 20 minutes waiting for the 7th player. Eventually he says, "Yeah, I'm gonna go." Can't really blame him at that point. I'm ready to write the whole thing off as a train wreck and sit down to do something else. 90 minutes after the game was supposed to start, the 7th player starts pinging me on Discord. He's apparently ready to play. Where is everyone? I tell him the game isn't happening. He calls me a crap DM and leaves, and the server is empty except for me. I delete the server and didn't play RPGs for about a year. Worst experience I ever had GMing. Well, the only thing I can really tell you is, I guess, a couple of pointers in general. If you're going to be starting a brand new game, before going to looking for group or any LFG posts or anything, finding a bunch of randoms that you don't even know, best to talk to people you do know. Ask them if they're interested, ask them if they want to have a spot reserved, and make a group with them. If that doesn't work and you have to look online, I think most people use like interviews and stuff and like actually talk to a person one-on-one to figure out if they're going to be a good fit. Because what it sounds like to me in this situation is that you have a bunch of random people that you don't know and you stuff them into the game, and turns out that they just don't mesh well. One player thought it was one thing, they quit. The other player didn't want to be a super special, super awesome Mary Sue, Gary Sue Astartes. You didn't let them, they quit. Another player just left without a warning. 4th player was into like a breeding fetish thing. They quit. A player got scared by the whole British fetish person. They quit as well. You have a bunch of people that you don't know kind of crammed together. You don't know anything about them. You don't know if they're going to be a good fit. You're just hoping and praying that it's going to work out. And at the end of the day, it didn't work out. Yeah, it crashed like a train wreck. Yes, this game was a train wreck. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's the most important thing to do is to take away something from it. It is a lesson to first go through the people you know and maybe start vetting people that you want to play the game with. Because at the end of the day, you got to make sure that you know exactly who you're playing with, and you could at least, I don't know, get to know the people before you play. Interview the players prior to that and vet them. There's nothing wrong with wanting to vet a decent group of players that are just interested. Maybe don't get 8 people together. Maybe start off with a 3 or maybe tops 4, 5 even if you're lucky. But I think a healthy medium maybe be about 3 people and just make it a regular thing and then kind of go from there. Longtime player and friend is ruining my first campaign. This longtime friend of mine, let's call him Alex, had been playing with me and a few other people in this long-running campaign for a while. However, recently a group member left due to some unrelated drama and things shuffled around, and I was going to DM. I had this campaign idea for a good long while and had written out a lot of lore and planned out the campaign and everything, and I was really excited for it. I'd also been asking everyone about their characters so I could add in some plot hooks related to all their backstories and stuff. Alex had been very open and cooperative, but kept making jokes about banging this one specific ruling family in this world. I thought nothing of it at first, but in the first session he tried to kill the first quest given NPC on site, keeps rolling to seduce the Huzz when they're in an empty wilderness devoid of people, and is just constantly interrupting everything I do. What do I do? There we go, something a little bit simple. At least we can end the story in something very simple. First, ask your friend to stop being problem player and stop exhibiting, is that the word? Stop, basically tell them they're being a bit of a problem because they're trying to seduce something where there's nothing there and basically being disrupting the table, and that's not a key thing to do and they should probably stop. If they don't stop, tell them you can't have somebody like that at the table because you want to have a regular ass game without having somebody try to seduce the Huzz and murder hope every single thing at first sight they see. Maybe you just don't want to run this kind of game and you don't want to entertain this sort of behavior. Third, if the friend doesn't want to stop and they continue being disruptive, you have to unfortunately remove them from the table and ask them not to return to the game. No matter how good your friend is, sometimes our best friends aren't great for the hobby. I, in high school, really wanted to start a band, like a rock band, you know, like playing music and stuff like that. I was really into I was into a lot of music. There wasn't a particular type of music that I was into. I had a slew of various different play styles. I just wanted to be in a band, you know, drummer, bass guitar, guitarist, singer, you know, stuff like that, and just practice, get better, you know, play together well and stuff like that. That's what I wanted to do. But at the end of the day, and I asked a lot of my friends if they want to join in because they had instruments and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, just because they're your friend doesn't mean they're going to be really interested in that one thing you want to do. Sometimes you need to look for people that are interested in the same thing you want to do and not just look from friends. Not every friend is going to be a good fit for a D&D game or any video game in general. Have you ever played a video game with somebody that just rages? They're great outside of the game, but in the game they become this absolute toxic a-hole and just impossible to deal with, like if they're playing like a competitive game or something and they just non-stop yap and get so pressured and just get so aggro and you can't like relax around them. It can be a little bit like that with TTRPGs as well, where somebody comes into the TTRPG not really with a specific mindset to like participate in the game and play with everybody else, but just to kind of do their own fun, which can ruin other people's fun. Murder hobo, try to seduce the Huzz in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere when there's nobody around, is just problem play behavior. And if your friend can't stop that after you explain to them that this is problem play behavior and they should cease this, then just don't have them join in. Hang out with them outside of the game. You can do whatever you want with them outside of the game, and they're just fine outside of the game. But some people are just not fit to be TTRPG players or playing a TTRPG. Maybe not playing this specific TTRPG. Maybe they want to go for more of a murder hobo experience. I don't know. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales tomorrow. Bye-bye.